Welcome to Real Women Stories. This week's episode is all about healing and energy. Now, I don't really know much about healing and energy. I've heard about it. I'm not sure if I believe it.
Why would the universe be happy to pay you when you're not happy to pay others? Because we are all just part of a cycle of exchange and each other's blessing. We don't even realize that.
You're going to get to experience how healing can help us in our everyday life with trauma that we've experienced throughout our lives.
I'm letting go. It's safe to let go. We're allowing those healing waters to start washing through us and around us,
This is Real Women Stories. Today's guest is a beautiful woman. Not only how she looks, but she's got the most wonderful energy. I was drawn to Meena Samara, who I had the pleasure of getting to know on a very high level through her daughter Summer Kang, who is in my podcast community. And I listened to Summer's podcast, and I was intrigued to find out more about her mum, because her mum actually interviewed her in one of her episodes. And she started talking about how she was using healing to help people in business with trauma and using it as a therapy based. So the whole topic really intrigued me. And when I found out about Meena, and she'd been featured in Vogue magazine and also Emirates magazine, I thought, well, who is this woman? Who is this businesswoman who is now a healing specialist and therapist? And I was a bit inquisitive to find out, do I believe in all of that? Is it true? So I wanted to take my listeners on a journey with me. And in this episode, Meena does exactly that. Meena Samara, thank you so much for first of all welcoming me into your beautiful home here, and also for agreeing to come onto the podcast to share your story. I believe that what you offer is trauma healing, and that's something that I really don't know anything about, and I'm not sure that our listeners do either.
And often what happens is we reach a certain stage in our lives where we're living a life that we thought would make us happy, but ultimately you get there and realize that I'm not happy inside, and all of these material things aren't necessarily fulfilling me. And so at the core of what we do is trauma healing. And what you find is that people from childhood up to now have been through so many experiences, and we don't realize we're holding on to those experiences energetically. And so what we do is help people and teach them how to process and let go of the past. And although people will have a problem now, they don't realize it comes from something that they've experienced in the past that they're holding on to, and then living through a subconscious belief that now is the reason why they can't get to the next level.
When I first spoke to you, and just listening to what you've just said, I got emotional when I spoke to you. And weirdly enough, I got a bit overwhelmed, because I suddenly realized that, wow, I understand what you're talking about. We carry so much from such a young age. And, I'm 50 now. And I'm sure that I'm carrying quite a lot with me, some of which I believe that, I don't actually face. And maybe that's holding me back. So tell me about your work. You said that you work with business owners. How did you get into this? Were you a business owner yourself?
I, in my 20s had a large business that was, turning over almost 5 million a year. So having been a business owner that has gone through these things where you get to that point where we had it all, the £1 million house on the best street, tree lined, cars on the drive, the holiday, everything. And I'm not saying that this work is only for those people, but having lived that experience of you have it all, but you look around and you have nothing because you have no joy. And over a period of time of lots of triggers and things going wrong in your outside world, that there wasn't peace in the outside world, and having experiences that I was having at that time. And then realizing that at stage where I'm blaming and shaming everyone else and thinking that's my problem, and pointing outwards. But what I never did was turn the finger and point it inwards.
And so I ended up going on a very intense internal journey of asking the question, why am I going through this? Why am I not happy? You know, what's really going on? And starting to realize that actually it was my own childhood life traumas, which I went through some childhood trauma. It became very complex. You start then attracting things based on the subconscious beliefs that you created. And now life is showing me in a painful way what is actually a dysfunction within myself. And so the energy work itself is something that I've had an interest in since I was a child, and thought it was a bit strange. But I thought it was normal that everybody could hear, see, and experience energy the way that I did.
Okay.
And then as you grow up and you become aware, and a lot of spiritual people will feel like this, where they might be psychic or very intuitive, when they speak openly about it and share it with others, it gets shut down and people think they're a bit strange. So I went through those kind of experiences where it was opening up and then shutting down and opening up and shutting down from a very young age. And then came into my 20s, had my first child, which is Summer. And it starts to open up again. So you open up and you shut it down. And so I was already very hyper aware of energy. And then in my sort of 20s to 30s, it became a bit of a hobby. So I started to study it a bit more, learn more about it, read books on it. And it was just a natural thing. We all have hobbies and interests, and that was mine. But then I went on my own inner journey because I went through a massive relationship breakdown. And, you know, we've all been there. And suddenly you start to really question, what is life about? Because you've created this life that now isn't there. So your world shatters beneath you and you start to question what is real. And so flowing on the inner journey myself, and I'd actually already been doing energy healing for people from my 20s. So I'd, you know, family, friends, people would send people to me. And this is just something I did on the side as a hobby, because people would come back and say, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. What did you do? And I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. So I was never taught how to do it, but I just had a inner knowing. And I think everybody has a gift and these innate ability to do things, and they're good with their hands or whatever it might be. And it was just something I did on the side. But this time what I did was I sort of parked very shortly what I was doing for other people and thought, if I can do this for other people, surely I can do this for myself. Because I was going to different places for help, like therapists, but they weren't really able to, they were helping me process things from my mind, but the problems were still there around me. Nothing was changing. And so what I'd noticed was when I was doing the energy work, people's lives, their external life was changing. The problems that were happening on the outside, because I changed something on the inside, they tell me about the problem on the outside, and I tune in, know where the problem was coming from the inside, shift the energy, and the external would change. So I started to do it for myself. And then I went on the most magnificent journey of self-exploration. And I think everyone should do this for themselves, because if you don't really know who you are, how can you have relationships and explore life fully? And what happens is we have all of these things that we go through, and we block them, and we keep ourselves really busy, and we're actually avoiding ourselves. And that's what I was doing. I had a business, I was successful, and I had all these things, and I was busy, you know, doing all the external stuff, ticking all the boxes, but I didn't even know who I was. At the core, I had no idea like what was possible within myself. So going on that healing journey for myself and doing the energy work on myself is where I really learned what this stuff was about, because I think I was just being taken and guided in some way on a path. And I went through the horrible experience that I did in business myself, you know, just what people go through in business, people, you know, cheating on them in business, and all of the things that happen in business. You know, you have the highs and the lows. And one thing I would say about entrepreneurship is it's nothing like having a job. Your business is a reflection of your frequency and your energy. And it's the biggest internal journey that you ever go on, because it really makes you challenge who you are. Because you've got to question yourself every day, because you're like, literally, why am I doing this? I can't do this. How come this is not working? And so going on that internal journey for myself really transformed everything. And then it created, as a result, in the end, a passion for wanting to do even more. Because if I can achieve this for myself, I literally lost everything. I lost the business, my marriage, my home, the car, all these things, and rebuilt it all back again. But the reason I managed to rebuild it back was because of the internal work that I did, and I built it back better, and knowing who I was as opposed to the way that we built it the first time.
When you say energy healing, what is that? Like, describe that to me. What happens? Is it a bit like Reiki?
Every time we go through a stressful situation, no one's taught us how to release the energy. So we are the making of every experience we've had, every conversation, every thought that we have, every environment we go into. We are constantly picking up energy and gathering and exchanging energy with other people. And so we're the making of that frequency of everything we've experienced. And even prior to that, some people believe in previous lives, we're actually carrying that as a blueprint on us. So energy healing is the process of pinpointing and using whatever tool it might be that works for the person. We teach a number of different tools to release the block, the root cause, the negative energy within the system. So this energy gets trapped in what we call the chakras. So we've got energy centers down the body. So we get energy, that's where life force comes into us, and those get trapped. But it also gets trapped into your blood, the cells of your being, the aches and pains that you're having, everything that we're experiencing in any type of pain, whether it's a relationship pain or a problem in your finances, an ache or a pain in the body, is some kind of energetic block or emotion that wants to be released. It wants to let go. It wants to move on. And that energy doesn't know how to get out because it's just sitting there. And by learning tools and techniques, we start to process it and actually shift it out. And so the difference between where I went through and had therapy was I now became really aware of a lot of things and understood myself, but there was still something I can't seem to get past these things. And these things was actually the energy block. So we are constantly attracting into our lives like a mirror, like a magnet.
Most of our clients go on to double and triple their incomes, and they're not changing their strategy. They're often working less hours. They've often learned so many tools that they just feel so much more relaxed. And they're like, I don't need to be in this fear mode. It doesn't need to come from fear. It doesn't need to come from I'm chasing all these things because I need to tick these boxes for other people. We've created lives based on what we think other people consider to be successful.
Yeah.
But you start to actually connect with your own self and learn about, actually, what do I really want? What would I love to create? And so your life starts to change in so many profound ways because you're not holding on to and building from a place of you might have some kind of low self-esteem or feelings of not being worthy enough. But when you're holding on to that, you'll keep attracting situations that make you feel unworthy. So you're constantly, because you're that vibration, so you're going to keep attracting situations like that. Or maybe you've got a lot of fears. You could even have fear of success. So the reason why you can't get to that next financial goal or that next success thing that you want to get to is because there's a fear of subconsciously, and if I get to that, then something bad's going to happen because of experiencing when you grow up. Maybe an uncle was really successful and he lost all his money and everybody was talking about it. You've absorbed that vibration. We've absorbed things from our parents through epigenetics. So we're living through their trauma and don't even realize that we've got family lineage trauma. And so some of us are walking around with this heaviness on us. We didn't even go through anything. And so when we talk about, healing trauma through the family lineage, we can do that now. It can stop now and you can release it now. So your children, your children's children, you're changing it, not just for you, you're changing it for your past lineage and the future. And so where you're vibrating completely changes. And so people talk a lot about manifesting and what that is. And it's such a massive topic. But actually, the crux of it, if you're still holding on to the old rubbish and you keep saying, I want this thing, I want this thing, I want this thing, you're never going to get to that thing because you're not vibrating at the same level as the thing that you want. So the only way to move and really get to that level is to shift and let go of the version of you that you are and let go of the energy blocks that you've got inside of you. And then you become the vibration of the thing that you want. By that point, don't even want that thing anymore because you realize all of these things and go, actually, what I really
want is something completely different. Yeah.
It completely shatters it.
My head's going, my mind's going, I want to ask you so many questions. So it's almost a bit like coaching, where we say to people, what change do you want to make? And often the change or the goal is not often where the goal is after we've started asking questions and picking off the layers of actually, is it this that's affecting me, or what are the things that's stopping me in my life? What are those blockers? What have I tried before? Why isn't that working? And often in coaching, we have to look within ourselves. And, because we have no control over other people. And if we allow other people, if we give them that control, then we're constantly worrying about the other people rather than ourselves. So it's a lot about looking inward within coaching, within therapy, and within what you're doing as well, which I think is so important, because as you said, we often point the finger at other people. Oh, it's because of their behavior. That's why I behave the way I do. And I think it's really interesting, because I've been reading the Let Them theory, which I'm bringing into this series. And that really is resonating with me right now, because it's well, if we allow people just to carry on the way they are, because I have no control over them. And whatever I do, however nice I am, however kind I am, however supportive, no one's going to change the way they are unless they want to change their own behavior. So then what the Let Them theory is, it's let me. So then it's looking inwardly within yourself. Well, how am I going to behave? How am I going to feel? How am I going to think? But what's interesting with what you're saying is, well, if I've got all these blocks here, how can I let me? Because there's a different trajectory going on here, because I'm holding on to so much. And the way I'm behaving is because of past experiences, past learned behavior, past beliefs, past programming, all of this stuff. How can I look inwardly unless I release some of that?
Yeah.
We're scared of making that change and releasing, because we know to build up these boundaries. We're in a safe space now.
But how long can we carry on behaving like this? How long?
If there's someone who has got problems with their finances, they're struggling, just say they've got a bit of debt, they've got some credit card bills, like I've been going out and spending, I may have 10, 15 grand. I may not even tell my husband, right? Because there's going to be women that are listening to this. I'm sure we've all done it. The shopping bills are going up, the electricity bills, utility bills are going up. I'm in a job or I'm not working. So the money I've got coming in is what I've got coming in. How do you think that your work could help somebody in that situation?
The word that's coming to my mind is gratitude.
Okay.
So every time you do pay a bill, write on the bill, and take a few moments to write, thank you for the money to pay this bill.
Okay.
And when you write it really slowly and just sit with it. Maybe write it 3 times on the bill, or maybe in a notebook, because it's online these days, right? And every single day, everything that you have paid for, just write a note to say, thank you for the money. Thank you. And sit with each item and just feel, why are you grateful? Who benefited? Why does that make you feel better? So what you're doing is shifting your vibration out of lack and into abundance. Immediately, that will shift your finances straight away. So you've got to do this. I can tell you, and it sounds like that sounds too easy. I don't want time for that. I'm not even going to bother. Well, then don't bother, and nothing's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
But do it every single day and see what happens after 3 or 4 days, and notice how you feel after you've done the exercise. It'll only take you 3 or 4 minutes, okay? And do it every single day for 30 days, okay? And then what I would do is, everywhere where you've got a bill, I would consolidate it and first face it, because we all have different patterns of trying to avoid things, not even looking at it, and thinking it'll go away if we don't look at it. Well, it's still sitting there, and you know it is. So make a list of what you've got with the bills, and get really clear on what you've got. And even if all you're doing is paying £1 a week on some of those bills, put them in a list, start paying off something. What you're doing is, when we are paying people, the money coming into us is in flow, because we're the vibration, we're creating the vibration all the time. And so by you just paying a bit and having the intention to pay, it opens up the doorway for it to come back to you as well. So whatever behavior we're doing is what's happening to us. So if we're stingy and we're miserly, we don't pay people properly, then other people are stingy and miserly, don't pay us properly. So when you do pay something, pay it with joy and be happy. Straight away, I can feel triggers. And the reason I say this is, well, why would the universe be happy to pay you when you're not happy to pay others? Because we are all just part of a cycle of exchange and each other's blessing, and we don't even realize that. And so with the bills that you are owing, write a list, have them in front of you. So you're just setting an intention to pay them, start paying for something, because the intentions then, the flow opens up and there is progress, and you'll find the fact that you've started, that will start to increase. And because you're doing the gratitude, your money will start to flow in and more will come in. If you want life to be generous to you, you need to be generous to life. We don't realize how we are other people's blessings, but yet we expect to be lucky. We want to be lucky and we expect somebody to bless us. Why would they bless us if you're not blessing anyone? So become the blessing.
There's going to be people that listening to this are going to be really skeptical. And I think I was one of those people. I remember I had Reiki once and I was like, they were like, can you feel anything? I went, not quite sure. Don't really know what's that. I think I tried it twice. Yeah. And then I've always been skeptical about it. But now you're talking, things do make sense if I look back. However, what you said before was really interesting. And we do this in coaching. If you sit where you are and you don't make a change, you're never going to know. So anyone that's skeptical about this, I guess what you're saying is, give it a go. Yeah. See how it feels. See where it goes. Yeah. Because if you are skeptical, prove it. Prove it to yourself, right? Prove it to yourself. Prove it to yourself. Like, why not? You said that you were going to try something with me. I'd love to try something.
And you're just going to start relaxing your face. And you're literally just saying to yourself, I'm letting go. And you're saying to yourself, I'm relaxing, because your body doesn't know what to do. So it can feel a little bit bizarre. So you're relaxing your face, relaxing your head, your shoulders, your neck, front of your body, the back of your body, relaxing your legs. Notice your feet on the ground, noticing your bum in the seat. I'm letting go. And you're saying to yourself, I'm letting go. It's safe to let go. You're saying this to yourself because you're constantly programming your body to tell it what to do. We don't realize we're doing that. I want you to visualize yourself walking down a beautiful golden beach, noticing all the signs of nature, the beautiful scenery, all of the signs of nature, the ocean, the waves. Feeling the shift in the frequency. I want you to take a little walk up to the ocean's edge and just set the intention to let go of any worries that you might have right now, any problems that are going on, any bills that you can't pay, anything that's happening in your life. It might help you just to almost feel as though you're grabbing those thoughts out of your head with your hand and just pulling them gently and dropping them into the ocean in front of you. Grabbing the energy, dropping it in front of you. It just helps sometimes just to be able to feel that you can do this. Okay. And I want you to trust that it's okay to put your problems and those thoughts down. They're not going to disappear anywhere. We're just asking for support and help, and trusting that we can put them down and be in peace for a moment. Next, what I want you to do is just set the intention to let go of any kind of stress that you have in your life and any energy blocks that are sitting in your physical body, your energetic body, and that it's safe for them to leave just at a level that feels comfortable. We're not getting rid of everything right now. We're just doing a gentle little release of any kind of stress and blocks that are sitting on the surface that want to come out today. And when you're ready, what I want you to do is step into the beautiful ocean, allowing those waves to start washing through you and around you, releasing and letting go. And saying to yourself, it's safe to let go. It's safe to let go of worries. It's safe to let go of my to-do list. It's safe to put it down. It's safe to let go of the stress. Ultimately, stress and anxiety comes from some kind of fear or worry about the future. And that fear energy is something we're creating ourselves through the way that we're thinking. And so by changing the way that we're thinking and letting go of things that we don't need to worry about in the future and creating more presence in our lives, we create a powerful shift of grounding and presence. I'm letting go. It's safe to let go of anything that doesn't serve me right now. I'm allowed to be joyful. I'm allowed to be happy. I'm allowed to be in peace. I'm allowed to stop still. I'm letting go. It's safe to let go. We're allowing those healing waters to start washing through us and around us, creating calm. And as those healing waters continue to shift you and clear you, you're just relaxing and letting go more and more, allowing yourself to come to quietness. Even if only for 30 seconds you reach the quietness, this is normal when you first start this. I would even reuse this recording over and over and practice it daily. Just a few minutes of letting go, and day by day, you will feel better and better. Next, what I want you to do, climb back up onto the beach, take a little seat in the sunshine energy, allowing the energy to recharge you with clean, fresh energy. We've let go of old, negative, heavy energy, and we're letting the fresh energy come through. And while you're sitting there, I want you to think about how you would love the rest of your day to go. Just setting some nice intentions, almost like you're visualizing how you would love the day to go. When you feel like your intentions are set, I want you to just rub your hands together for a moment. And you're just going to pat down the energy of your crown, your face. Just help you come back into your body to releasing energy. Grounding back in and to see your bum on the seat. And when you're ready, you can slowly start opening your eyes again.
Wow.
You said a lot.
That was amazing. Oh my goodness, that was lovely. I'm going to tell you what I saw. So my experience was, it was like there was a tornado around me and I had papers flying everywhere as I was walking into the sea. And they were just whirling and whirling and whirling and whirling. And slowly the sea took away all of those papers from me and all of that whoosh of that stress, of that anxiety, of the overwhelm. And then I was laying on my back in the water, just kind of like, it was really still at this point. Like I was like on a lilo, do you know what I mean? And then I actually sat back on the seabed and I was watching the sunset. And that was where I kind of sat and I thought my intention was, because I love watching a sunset. I love it was like my feet were just in the water, but my bum was on the sand. And it was just that whole vision of this beautiful ocean with this beautiful bright sun just setting in calmness. It was amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was beautiful. And it's good when someone talks you through it, because I hold a lot of tension in my face. And as you said, release the tension in your face, in your shoulders, like everything started to kind of go. And it was just lovely. It was beautiful. Thank you. You have been featured in some fantastic magazines, in Vogue and the Emirates. Like, congratulations. That's wonderful. You've got such a beautiful way around about you. Thank you so much for your energy, your time, your creativity, sharing all of your gifts with our listeners. Whoosh. I just had to take a big deep breath then. I'm feeling lighter. I feel so much lighter. So going through that experience with Meena, but as soon as I started talking to her, I got really emotional. I felt quite emotional. Some of the stuff that she was saying to me really made me realize how much I hold on to that's negative energy, or that I've got a learned behavior of putting up these barriers around me, being this strong woman because that's how I'm meant to be. And then when Meena started talking about how much we hold on to things and clearing our energy levels, that it was something that I probably really need to be looking at. And it could really benefit me because I do hold on to quite a lot. And then going through the exercise, the vision that I had was all these papers and this kind of whirlwind around me that visualized my life, and that I'm sitting in this middle of this tornado at the moment that needs to disperse. So for me, I'm going to be listening back to this episode. I'm going to be doing that exercise daily. I've now got a daily practice that I can bring into my life of self-care to calm myself, to trust the universe, that I need to let go of some of that stress and let that flow. Let the positive energy flow, let the calm energy flow. And that will hopefully be a reflection on my life and my day, so I can set my intentions that way. During the episode, Meena got me thinking about the let them theory and how our behavior and the way that we allow other people to control our behavior, it does affect us. The Let Them Theory is a book that's been written by Mel Robbins, who is an absolute inspiration to me. The theory is very much twofold. So during this series, I wanted to share her theory with you. So I'm going to be discussing in my next episode, which is a coaching episode, all about the Let Them Theory and how we can take elements of what Meena experienced in her life and how she shared her experiences in her healing and her therapy that she offers to women, how we can use that. So if you are interested in learning about the Let Them Theory and understanding how Mel Robbins can change your life, then you can join me in my next episode. In addition to talking about the Let Them Theory, I am offering one listener, one lucky person, a chance to spend the day with me coaching with the Real Women Coach, and also to have the opportunity, which is an amazing opportunity, to come and watch Mel Robbins with me, see her live in her show, and we're going to get to meet her as well. So if you listen to the next episode of Real Women's Stories, you'll not only get elements of my coaching, you will also be able to enter the competition to spend the day with me and to meet Mel Robbins. So all of that information will be in my next episode of Real Women's Stories.